My name is Maz Ifzal, and I am a public speaking and communication skills expert. That in a nutshell, connecting is everything, Tom. I think we all know what it feels like to be stressed. Yeah, I'd say it's an undefined emotion. First of all, I asked them, what is fear? Fear is false evidence that appears real. Those are the only two fears that you are born with: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noise. Not always, no. I know. I don't always love my stress, no. Familiar and even normal, you don't notice how much it's affecting you, even as it takes a heavy toll. I mean, we've realized that, haven't we, in the social isolation and what we've just gone through with the COVID-19.
Yeah.
But actually, we need the human connection. It's so important. When most people experience leadership stress, it's not in anticipation of an upcoming challenge. Usually it's a sense of dread associated with continuously striving to do more with less. That actually, if I feel that I'm getting better and I see that in others as well, I get really excited. There's no medical definition of stress, Tom, and healthcare professionals, they often disagree over whether stress is the cause of a problem or the result. Everybody will have a different answer. You ask 10 people, you'll get 10 different answers, Tom. So many health benefits to it. The secret is actually to make sure we have a balance of stress, enough to motivate us, but not so much that we become overwhelmed, anxious. So I listen to my body first of all. That's how I know that I'm stressed. So when my body's stressed, muscles become tight, and I know that something just doesn't feel right. I mean, stress will bring into a variety of, for different people, physical and emotional symptoms.
Instead of waiting till you get stressed, you're already observing, like noticing, bringing that awareness, having those checks during the day.
I'm not sure about motivate, but it certainly alerts me, Tom, to become more aware of the situation and do something about it. And like I said, my first course of action is my inner circle. It's a tribe of people that I trust, and I can actually put my guards down. But the next one is exercise. Working out regularly is one of the best ways to relax my body and mind. And exercise can provide stress relief for your body while imitating effects of stress, such as the flight or fight response, and helping your body and its system practice working together through those effects.
That sounds so beautiful, just getting in touch with the body.
Yeah.
And then getting that support. And that's also one of the problems for some leaders, is just asking for that support.
It's not that thinking about past events is bad. You're asking me for an example, but fixating on them leads to harmful health outcomes. And I always tell my clients to be present in the moment. Don't think about the negative emotions in the past or think what will happen in the future. Think about the now. Stress is a choice. As Dalai Lama says, that if a problem is fixable, if a situation is such that you can do something about it, then there is no need to worry. If it's not fixable, then there is no help in worrying. There is no benefit in worrying whatsoever.
Welcome to the podcast, Maz, and I would love to, as always, let you introduce yourself.
Hi, Tom. Thank you for having me. My name is Maz Ifzal, and I am a public speaking and communication skills expert. I'm the founder of Make a Point, and Make a Point was born through a healthy blend of passion, frustration, and I'd say curiosity, Toms, ignited by a genuine desire to make a difference. The difference revolves around connecting, not just simply presenting. Making a difference is actually what drives us today. A difference to how organizations inspire, influence, and engage people through the way that they actually present their ideas, and a difference to the way presentation skills are taught, and a difference the way in which professionals think about and develop their public speaking skills. And I have a philosophy that I follow, that in a nutshell, connecting is everything, Tom.
It's a pretty good introduction, and uh, sounded a bit rehearsed, but sounded like really well presented. So
Oh,
that's what
thanks.
I expected. Anyway, my next question is I'm nothing to add. Just like love the introduction, especially the curiosity part. And forgot the word you used, but the thing I loved about the making a change and impact. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean,
that's what usually
that,
people.
yeah,
Yeah,
with the unprecedented times that we're in, it's really important. How do we make an impact? It isn't just about presenting, it's about connecting.
yeah.
And yeah, that's why I said it's a difference the way presentation skills are taught, and a difference to the way actually in which professionals think about and develop their communication skills. And that's why I said that I have a philosophy that connecting is everything.
So I guess that's already partly the answer to my next question. What excites you?
Okay, yeah. Well, I would say learning. The word learning comes to
Learning.
mind. Learning is what excites me the most, because when I feel, Tom, that I am learning something and actually I am becoming a better human being every day, that is the core. I could mention a lot of things to you, but the underlining thing is that actually, if I feel that I'm getting better and I see that in others as well, I get really excited. I think we're in times where actually it's very easy to become better because there's an abundance of knowledge and tools out there. You actually just need to take them. Would you agree?
Definitely, there's so much things. It's just the biggest challenge is actually deciding where to start and actually starting to learn because information is just so abundant. And
Yeah.
I completely agree with the excitement part. Just a couple of minutes ago before the podcast, I was just surfing the social media and I noticed there was this post from Tony Robbins and reminded me of six basic human needs, and growth is one of them, and the second is contribution. So yeah,
Yeah.
the growth and learning is the kind of the same thing, and yeah, it's crucial.
Yeah. No,
We
you're
need it
right.
and we enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And one of the first things before we switch this like introduction part is I love to ask people to get on the same page. So we're not talking about two different things in a
Yeah.
general. So how would you define stress? What's your definition?
Mm, I think we all know what it feels like to be stressed. I don't think there's a single person who doesn't know what it's like to feel stress. But actually, it's not easy to pin down exactly what stress means. When we say things like, this is stressful, I'm stressed, we might not be talking about a situation or event that puts pressure on us. For example, times where we have lots to do or think about, or actually we don't have much control over what's happening. We have situations or events that put pressure on us. For example, like I said, times where we have lots to do and think about, or don't have much control over what happens. Our reaction to being placed under pressure, that feeling that we get when we have demands placed on us that we find difficult to cope with. There's no medical definition of stress, Tom, and healthcare professionals, they often disagree over whether stress is the cause of a problem or the result. And if I was to describe the word stress, I would say it's what you feel when you're feeling an emotion that you're actually unable to express. It is an undefined emotion. Yeah, I'd say it's an undefined emotion.
I really loved how you started out with that. Everyone knows the feeling. We all know it. We all have familiar it. But if we have to express it through the words, then this is like where the confusion starts
Yeah,
because we might not be talking about the same thing anymore.
yeah, no,
However,
you're
like,
right.
yeah, it's like really, yeah, love this pointing out this part. And also how you defined it with inability to express yourself. Yeah, it's a really good definition. I love it.
Thank you. I mean, I must admit, I did struggle. It is a struggle to explain actually what is stress. How do you define it? Everybody will have a
It is
different answer. You ask 10 people, you'll get 10 different answers, Tom.
Yeah, that's why I love to ask this question, just to hear this abundance and variety of answers. And everyone approaches from different angles. It's like hiking. I love hiking, and I love to come up with hiking references. And it's
Yeah.
the same, like you have a mountain peak, and we can go up there probably from a couple of paths. Usually there's one going up and one going down. Sometimes there's even more. And each one might be coming up from different angle up there, and they might have completely different experience.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Once we are on the same page and we're kind of like agreeing that what is stress and kind of know what to expect when other talks about stress. What are your thoughts about my topic, love your stress?
Love your stress. Okay, well, we all experience stress in our lives. Agreed? Yeah. And many of us try to reduce the effects of stress because we think actually stress is bad for us. However, some stress can actually be beneficial, or I like how you put it, love your stress. Loving our stress can actually motivate us to get stuff done. And it also has so many health benefits to it. The secret is actually to make sure we have a balance of stress, enough to motivate us, but not so much that we become overwhelmed, anxious, and we begin to experience detrimental health conditions. In some situations, the effects of stress can be very beneficial. But I'd say, obviously, it's essential that in a life-threatening situation where we need to run away or defend ourselves, yeah, but it can also boost our motivation and spur us on to get things done. Stress hormones can help us be more alert, focused, and actually energetic. When you think about the word stress, it's in fact essential to us human beings. And why do I say that? Why would we get off the couch to study for an exam or complete a work report if it weren't for the effects of stress? I mean, when I was coming onto the podcast and you said that, we're going to talk about the word stress, I looked up the word stress. What does it mean? And actually, quite interesting, some of the facts that had come up. Moderate stress improves the cognitive function, and studies have shown that a moderate level of stress actually boosts your brain power. And this is because it strengthens the connection between the neurons in the brain. I mean, researchers at the University of Berkeley have found that exposing rats to brief stressful events even make new nerve cells form in their brains. And these brain changes can result in improved memory and a boost in your attention span, helping you to be more productive. The secret is, Tom, to try and keep stress levels from becoming too high. Easier said than done sometimes, I know, but that's the key.
I love how you did some research and shared this specific details about stress, that how it, and I completely agree, and that's how I came on to this saying, this slogan, "Love your stress," because I completely agree. And the problem is that sometimes, in a, like speaking just person to person, we associate stress only the negative part of it. So we tend to kind of forget about the good part of it as well, that there's this actual benefit. And that's why I actually came up with this idea, because without stress, life gets boring, and we actually need some of it to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And because it's always going to be there, it's just about what kind of relationship we have it. So yeah, and I've heard you had the same idea about it. You just express it slightly different words, but basically the feeling was the same. The feeling was the same.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about love your stress. Do you love your stress?
Not always. No, no. I know. I don't always love my stress. No, no. Sometimes it's not a nice feeling.
Yeah, I'm completely with you here because, as you said before, when it motivates you, it's easy to love it.
Yeah, it's
However,
great.
when it's a bit too much, when you're out of that balance, when you're out of that moderation, you said, um, then it's a bit harder. It's a bit tougher.
Yeah, and I think that's why I said the secret is to keep stress levels from becoming too high. But
Yeah,
again, easier said than done. I know.
yeah. That's so actually, um, what I'm curious. What are you doing when you recognize that you are on those stress levels a bit too high? And what do you usually do?
Um, so I listen to my body first of all. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
know that I'm stressed. So when my body's stressed, muscles become tight, and I know that
Mm-hmm.
something just doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, stress will bring into a variety of, for different people, physical and emotional symptoms that sometimes are hard to notice if you don't pay attention. I mean, I find myself feeling very frazzled and overwhelmed. And then I know actually, Tom, it's time to take action to bring my nervous system back into balance. This way I can protect myself and actually improve how I think and feel. I mean, by learning how to recognize the signs and symptoms of stress and taking steps to reduce its, I'd say, harmful effects. And the most dangerous thing about stress is how easily it creeps up on you. Sometimes you get used to it, it starts to feel familiar and even normal. You don't notice how much it's affecting you, even as it takes a heavy toll. That's why it's so important to be aware of the common warning signs and symptoms of actually stress overload. Your cognitive symptoms include memory problem, inability to concentrate, poor judgment. Like I said, everybody goes through a different experience. But my first course of action is always to connect with a person that I trust and I talk to them, Tom. The simple act of talking with another human being can trigger hormones that actually relieve stress when you're feeling agitated or insecure. Even just a brief exchange of kind words or a friendly look from another human being can help calm and soothe your nervous system. So, what I'd suggest to our listeners out there is spend time with people who improve your mood and don't let your responsibilities keep you away from actually having a social life. And if you don't have any close relationships, or your relationships are the source of your stress, make it a priority to build stronger and more satisfying connections, which I like to call my inner circle.
Yeah, I love how you started already expanding on this question, and I guess the first, and I really love the proactive mindset you have, and your first course of action is actually having this guard up, already observing the body and always being aware. So where I am today. So what are my relationship with stress at the moment, and just having this awareness of self, a body, and the reactions you have. So that's actually a really lovely example that instead of waiting till you get stress, you're already observing, like noticing, bringing that awareness, like
Yeah,
probably also having those checks during the day. And another thing that I'm usually focusing on the like physical things I could do. And
yeah,
it's probably why you answered it's slightly different because you probably already expected that most of the people would go like for a walk or have some kind of physical exercise, meditation, breathing. And instead of talking about these things that we already everyone knows,
yeah.
how you focused on this talking, having that inner circle, which support group. So, which is not that common, which is also really amazing way of relieving stress.
Mm-hmm.
And really appreciate you bringing up this thing and being so thoughtful that, yeah, skipping the regular things that everyone already knows
Yeah.
those small things that maybe just talking to your friend.
I mean, we've
Yeah,
realized that, haven't we, in the social isolation and what we've just gone through with the COVID-19,
yeah,
but actually we need the human connection. It's so important.
yeah. And that again goes back to your the beginning where we're talking about the connection and what was exciting you. And a slightly different twist of the question is what motivates you to manage stress?
Okay. I'm not sure about motivate, but it certainly alerts me, Tom, to become
Mm,
more aware of the situation and do something about it. And like I said, my first course of action is my inner circle. It's a tribe of
mm,
people that I trust and I can actually put my guards down. But the next one is exercise. You know, working out regularly is one of the best ways to relax my body and mind. Plus, exercise actually, it helps improve your mood. You know, exercise in any form can act as a stress reliever. Being active can boost your feel good endorphins and actually distract you from daily worries. Why? Because it pumps up your endorphins. Physical activity helps bump up the production of your brain's feel good neurotransmitters, which are called endorphins. And although this function is often referred to as a runner's high, any activity, walking, running, tennis, nature hike, can contribute to the same feeling. It also reduces the negative effect of stress. And exercise can provide stress relief for your body while imitating effects of stress, such as the flight or fight response, and helping your body and its system practice working together through those effects. And this also leads to a positive effect in your body. Um, Actually, even your cardiovascular, your digestive, and your immune system by helping you protect your body from harmful effects of stress, Tom.
yeah, as you were started talking about what motivates you and how do you do it, expanding even more the what you actually do. I just got curious because you started with the COVID situation, how things have changed, and you also started that circle again. And I was wondering, did you had any change between because before the COVID probably had mostly presential people around you, and that
Yeah.
was your inner circle. How much did you notice the change? How much at the moment you have this virtual support and how much you have this presential support? Just curious.
I've had a lot of virtual support. I'm very, very grateful. And I think because of the pandemic, we were isolated. Um, and the isolation can be really scary. And I built some great contacts in the virtual world who have actually helped me. And like I said, where I'm comfortable in, you know, letting my guards down and be who I am.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, it's actually good to note because we're also connecting over the virtual platform, this Zoom call here. And we actually also connected through the LinkedIn platform,
Yeah.
which is
Hmm.
probably also a big part of your support. And
Yeah,
my
my
experience
support
so far has
network.
been.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I call it my tribe. And yeah, it is my tribe. They cheer me, they support me, they engage with my content. Um, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, it's also a really good motivation when you see those people cheering for you in
Yeah,
your tribe. Then you just okay, I have to be there for them as well. So
yeah,
let's pick this
yeah.
up. And because you're working in public speaking sector and you're teaching people to speak, I was wondering, how are you dealing with the probably one of the most scariest thing people have, and which causes quite a lot of stress for loads of people having this public speech. How do you deal with that in your clients?
First of all, I asked them, what is fear? You know, fear
Hmm.
is false evidence that appears real. Okay. And then I tell them that, do you know that you were only born with two fears? I mean, do you know, Tom, that you're only born with
Mm.
two fears?
Not really. What are those? Which
No,
ones?
what do you think? I'd like you to guess. What do you think
Ah,
they could be?
two fears. Let me think. Well, first things that come to my mind are things that Tony Robbins teaches, and one is about not being lovable. Uh,
Okay.
s- so that's could be some kind of rejection as well.
Okay.
And so,
Okay. Well, when a baby is born, the doctor does two very early checkups. It holds the baby and it tilts it.
mhm.
And the baby does this. Why? Because it has the fear of falling. That's your first
Mm.
fear. And the other thing that the doctor does is to check the hearing, the doctor claps and the baby gets startled. So it has the fear of loud noise. Those are
Huh.
the only two fears that you are born with, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noise. Any other fear, Tom, that you experience has actually been acquired throughout your life and is often caused by certain events and situations that have marked your mind and emotions in a way that make you feel scared, fearful, stressed. And that's when our body responds with the fight or flight response. All of the fears are actually learned, most of them in the first 6 years of our life. We acquire fears through our own experience, behavior of others. Our first teacher normally being our mother. If she lets out a horrified scream at the sight of a spider, the young child will probably internalize and adopt the aversion. Yet, if the mother calmly gets hold of this tiny little leggy visitor and transforms him out into nature, the offspring is most likely to develop a benign attitude towards the crawlers. Natural fears, Tom, they're necessary. Why? Because they protect us from harm. Phobias, on the other hand, they're exaggerated, irrational fears that actually impair a person's functioning. And at Make a Point, which I'm the founder of, we try to reach the core of the fear and work from that. Another way to help manage the fear is breathing techniques. Relaxation and breathing techniques are invaluable when we try to calm the nerves. When we're nervous, we often take shallow breath. This leads to added anxiety. So slowing down our breathing and learning to relax is invaluable.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know that about those two basic fears, and it's quite interesting how we learn to wrap them up like an onion,
Mm-hmm.
and how they manifest in all kinds of flavors afterwards. Yeah, fear of falling and fear of loud noises.
Loud noise. Yeah, those are the only two fears you're born with.
I'm curious about do you have any like example of how people connect the fear of these two basic fears with fear of public speaking? Do you
Yeah.
have
So,
any?
for example, say you're at university and the teachers ask you a question and you've put your hand
Mhm.
up, okay? And you've got the answer wrong. Everybody's laughed. The next time,
Mm.
you probably won't do it because you have the fear that I will get the question wrong rather than believing in yourself. Again, the fear has been instilled in you. You've acquired that fear. You're not born with it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it's a pretty good point that most of the fears are acquired during your life, and it kind of empowers you as well at the same time to wait. I adapted this fear. I learned it, so
Yeah.
that means I can also unlearn it, and that gives you this sense of empowerment and choice. Yeah, I have actually choice in this. Do I still want to experience it, and how do I react? We have a stress coming up on us, and we're not always able to love it, and we're not always able to um, we're not always able to motivate ourselves to get over the stress. Sometimes we tolerate a bit too much. And I was thinking, because there's probably some examples you can share us about how stress impacts leadership. So the people, when they have this stress, they're a bit more motivation to overcome it. Okay, I heard this fact. Okay, this is how stress impacts me, and this is the effects I can get out of it. and that's why I want to get rid of it sooner. So I think that's it will be helpful. Do you have any examples of that?
Um, I think, as you said, stress is recognized worldwide as a major challenge to
Mm,
workers' health and well-being. But in times of turbulence and uncertainty, this burden can be even more difficult to carry, especially when you're a leader. It's like it's leadership stress, and it's most damaging because sometimes it goes unnoticed. Um, when most people experience leadership stress, it's not in anticipation of an upcoming challenge. Usually, it's a sense of dread associated with continuously striving to do more with less. In many cases, that dread is magnified by the process of the rumination, thinking about the experience from past or in scenarios in the future and attaching negative emotions to them. It's not that thinking about past events is bad. You're asking me for an example, but fixating on them leads to harmful health outcomes. And I always tell my clients to be present in the moment. Don't think about the negative emotions in the past or think what will happen in the future. Think about the now, you know, the moment. In order to reduce leadership stress and burnout and become more resilient, leaders first have to recognize how much time they're spending, you know, um, ruminating about things that produce no useful outcome. And then the next step is to channel that negative energy into reflection. Rumination's a positive flip side, free from past regrets and anxiety about the future. Reflective leaders are better able to succeed in the moment, Tom, and prepare for the future. And I always say this to leaders when they come onto my boot camp. Stress is a choice. As Dalai Lama says, that if a problem is fixable, if a situation is such that you can do something about it, then there is no need to worry. If it's not fixable, then there is no help in worrying. There is no benefit in worrying whatsoever.
yeah, I love this quote. It's quite inspiring because of our memories and how our brain works. Sometimes it's like when especially under the stress, the things you don't repeat to yourself enough, you tend to forget them. And we have to have some kind of mantras or some kind of
Yeah,
things we repeat ourselves. And these kind of quotes, which we always keep on repeating, they help us to be prepared to when a battle comes, then we're ready to face it. And I lost my train of thought. And yeah, it's gone. It doesn't matter. And I think that was it. The
yeah,
leaders they should um, they should have this presence. That's also actually one of the things I love to remind myself. Be present, Toms. Be present. And that's also one of my mantras that I love dearly. And I also like that you also mentioned it as well. And being present, not worrying about the past, and focusing what you can change. Or if you cannot change, then why worry? And the
yeah.
rumination as well. And to round this podcast up, do you have any takeaways? Like maybe from your preparation, because you did some preparation before. Like maybe you discovered it not in this conversation here. Maybe you discovered it as you were doing this research before. So what would be your one takeaway from this interview?
Um, I think my one would be that you asked me, how do you recognize that you're stressed and
Mm,
what's your best course of action? Um, I knew this, but again, it was an affirmation to listen to my body. And that's so important, especially in the challenging times that we're in, that actually when I am feeling frazzled and overwhelmed, exercise isn't the first thing that I want to go to for a walk. It's actually relying on my inner circle, on the people that I trust. And yeah, that I think that will be my key takeaway, that when I am overwhelmed and anxious and in that situation, that I go to that go-to person that I can trust and offload on.
It sounds so beautiful, just getting in touch with the body
Yeah.
and then getting that support. And that's also one of the problems for some leaders, is just asking for that support
Yeah.
and just being there. And before we go away and before we finish this podcast, I always love to ask interviewees, do you have any referrals for me? Like, would you recommend someone for as a next guest for me?
Yeah, I think I would recommend Azza Rabbani.
Mm.
I think it would be great to talk on the subject of stress because he's gone through adversity himself. So yeah, I think it would be quite insightful having him on.
Okay, thank you very much for joining this
Thank you,
discussion.
Tom.
Actually, interview, because I was not talking that much. I was mostly interviewing and asking questions. Thank you for coming. Thank you for recommendation, and love your stress.
No, thank you for having me. Tom, am I okay to take a picture of both of us that I can share on LinkedIn?
Yes.
We'll probably do it next
You're
week,
okay.
but yeah, I'm going to do
Yeah.
it. Okay, so smile. Taking it.
Okay,
Thank you
awesome.
very much,
Thank
Tom.
you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
And
Bye.
take care.
Bye.
Yeah. And
Bye.
bye.